All right, welcome. Final day of the project, day 12, I believe. Quickly, just we'll touch on what we did day 11. Slash submissions shows all the submissions and have a form to enter a new word. Enter a new one, sorry. So let's go to that route. Here's our running front end. And if we click on submissions, oh, we have no current submissions. So that's why we're not seeing any. But if we test some, test 1, test 2, we get an error right off the bat because I don't have my server running. That'd be the problem. So let me open up my backend server. And we'll get this running in a second. Gonna open up the terminal to nodemon. Actually, we changed it to npm start. We put in the tag yesterday, or the script, to run node app when we do npm start. So we should be good there. All right, server is up and database connected. Awesome. Now we actually have a backend. So now our front end, I'm gonna refresh. I'm gonna clear out the errors. And we can try again, I believe. Okay, awesome. So test 1, test 2, we'll just enter another one. These numbers don't matter at all or mean anything, it's just whatever. Okay, that's working. And then we actually deployed our backend to Heroku. So right now it's running locally. Yeah. So if we switch to our backend, it's running locally, but by the end of the day, we're gonna not even need to have either of these locally running. They're both gonna be deployed. So let's work on that right now. Or let me show you what I mean when I say we deployed it on Heroku. So I have Heroku already pulled up, and I'll just show you from the home screen. Here's the project we created, CSS art server. So I click on it, and then settings, and it says your app can be found at this link. And if we just open that, we see our server running. And then we can even test this. So I'm gonna go back to Heroku and copy this link. And then I think it's nicer to show you on Postman that this is actually working. So instead of localhost /submissions, and if we do a GET request there, you can see that all our submissions are retrieved fine. Let me scroll this up a bit. Right here, all our submissions, but now they're also existing. We can also access them from our server. So if we do /submissions on our Heroku URL with a GET request, it's exactly the same information. So at this point, I believe we can shut down our local server and wire up our front end to now use the server in the cloud, the server in Heroku. So that'll be our challenge, because I'm going to close this down, our back end, and it's going to break our front end for now when I refresh it. So if I go to our front end, now if I try to do this, it should break. Yeah, there's no functionality. And we get some errors. Now our job is to get this get our front end working with Heroku server. So what do I want to do? There's a file we created called base URL. And when our server was running locally, this is what the URL it was running at. But now we actually want to make this the Heroku URL. And just wrap it in quotes. And I save this. And I'm not sure if that's the only thing we actually have to change. That'd be pretty cool. I think it might be. So I'm actually seeing the functionality on our front end that we expect. We're seeing a list of submissions without the form because we're not logged in. If I click on home, it'll automatically log me in because I have cookies. So now if I click on submissions, we can do another test. Test 12, submit. And yeah, so now we're completely independent from our server running locally, and we're fetching the information from basically our server running in the cloud on Heroku. So now, let me go back to our README. So we're fine there. We deployed the server with Heroku, but now we want to do the same kind of idea for our front-end React client. But instead, we're going to actually use Netlify. So let me pull up Netlify. Okay, so I'm going to log in here. And I currently have no sites, I guess, which is great. And it says here, it's a little bit hard to see, but it says want to deploy a new site. Drag and drop your site folder here. I'm going to Google, just to show you guys, React Netlify, just to show you. It's so easy, but just so if you forget, you can remember from looking at some instructions. So they use create React app to to bootstrap a React front end, and then all you do is run npm run build. So we don't actually need these two steps. I'm going to show you just with this step, npm run build. So back in VS Code, let's open up our terminal actually. And I want to open up our sidebar first to show you what's going to happen. So you see here in these folders, there's just public and source. There should be a build folder after we go ahead and run this. Oops. So I'm going to shut this down and do npm run build. And this is going to compile all our codes and minimize it and make it beautiful and make it like one, I believe, index.html file that we can then just drag and drop to Netlify. So it's crazy easy, and it's awesome. Okay, so check this out. Now we have a new folder called build. And if we take a look at it, what's interesting, our one index.html file, and it's not readable to us because it's done some crazy stuff to it. But there's only one HTML file now, and then I believe there's only serviceworker.js. I have no idea what that does, but let's look in static, and we see JavaScript. So we can see a couple of JavaScript files. But the key takeaways are that there's one index.html. But you really don't even have to be curious or inspect this. You really just don't even have to open the build folder. You just have to click on it and say reveal in File Explorer. and then we're going to drag it over to Netlify. So back to Netlify, here it says drag and drop your site. So we're just going to do that. We're going to take the build folder and drop it in. And it says it's currently deploying. All right, so now it says it's good. We have the option to set up a custom domain. We're not. We get HTTPS for free. So here's our site's name, Peaceful Elion. Let's click on it. And let's zoom way in. And signed in user null right now. That's fine. Oh, that actually makes sense because this is now a different URL. So if we open up our console and we go to, I believe, application, you'll notice in session storage, local storage, it's empty right now. So this is like a virgin web page. It's never been touched by us, like setting cookies to it yet. So let's actually do that though. Let's log in. max@yahoo.com, password 123. And when we log in, does that not work? So we got an error in the console. Let's check it out. Cannot read property password of null. Register and login, line 12. Should I try one more time? No. So let's check our front end. And see what's going on there. Okay, let's check our front end. So it said the error is in register and login, line 12, our component. So I'm going to close out some of this stuff. Just so I have room to work. Okay. And then I'm going to go to that register and login component. And again, it said line 12, handle submit. If data not okay, return. Okay, so here's so it obviously has a problem with posting our submission. I'm not really sure on this error. Let me try to refresh this page just to make sure it's not just because it's the very first time we're using it. Let's actually test if I can register too. We'll do a new username. Password 123, register. So the form worked for the register component, and which you would think it's using the same, the register and login are using the same component, so you'd think they would both fail. And we actually successfully stored our user key in our our token and our email. If we click on submissions, let's test if we can enter a submission. Okay, cool. So that functionality is all working. So there's actually no reason login shouldn't work because it's using the same exact logic. So let's try that one more time. Oh, because we don't have a user max at yahoo.com 123. That's why. Yeah. We don't, this user doesn't exist because it's a brand new database. So let's register max at yahoo.com 123 and register. And then now that user exists in our database, and click log out, then log in. And now let's log them in. And we're good. So definitely not great feedback to the user. There should absolutely be a message that says this user doesn't exist or something other than just this kind of not helpful error message. So definitely the backend can be tweaked and improved. But for this project, I'm going to keep it pretty rough just because it's the first one. And I have an idea as how I want to make this more clean in the future. I'm going to build it out, make it way more robust before I jump in. But I kind of want to put this first project to bed because there's a lot of things I'm going to do differently in the second iteration. But we did set out to do what we accomplished. Now our front end is deployed to Netlify, and our back end is deployed to Heroku, and they're both just out there on the internet, and anyone can have access to it and put these submissions and see them. Yeah, so I don't know if you got anything out of that, but I'm going to do a bunch in the future, and I'm going to improve the quality, especially the feedback when there's errors, especially the feedback to the user when there's errors. So super short video to end it, but yeah, I'm excited to do some more projects in the future. All right, thanks.